Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 3. Our theme this week is going to be taking a look at theories of leadership and administration, theories and old and new about the principalship. Before we get into the actual chapter of material that we're going to look at, I'd like to take a look ahead at the governance model essay that I've asked you to write. It is one of your major papers. And it is one that students go back and say has been very valuable in helping them understand administration in a very practical way. Having given time to look at your own school, you get to know it and its governance. If you're a principal, you probably know most of this information about your school already. If you are a teacher, you probably need to speak with your principal about some of the insights regarding the governance. I want you to do that. I want you to look at your school setting, not just the principals and the teachers, but how your school, particularly if it's diocesan, how it relates to the bishop, the layer of the chancery, related to school or the bishop, and to show how it relates then to the superintendent's office, others who provide services to your school above and beyond your local school. How does your school then relate to the pastor and the principal? Or conversely, how do the principal and pastor relate to each other and then to your school? You need to show the interconnectedness of how all of these individuals relate to each other, especially including the bishop. You need to show solid lines or broken lines, whether it's authoritative or advisory. In addition, there should be other administrators that serve under the principal, particularly if this is a high school. Maybe it might be team leaders if it's an elementary school. And with that, you need to then include on a high school level, department chairs and team heads, and any other faculty positions. Finally, and obviously your faculty come under that then, your grade teachers or your subject teachers. Finally, any advisory boards, authoritative advisory, parent boards, student councils, and how they function, as well as any other group that assists with the school, for example, a finance office that really might be from the rectory or from the diocese, and how it relates to the school. I want you to create a chart so that you show whether there is a direct supervisory or advisory role, maybe using solid lines or broken lines. Who relates to whom? Who governs whom? And to what degree? In what manner? In your essay, you will need to then explain, starting from the bishop, the various layers of who does what and how each relates to the other. Of course, don't forget students with their clubs and the different grades. Student council, honor society, and any other significant clubs, particularly on a high school level, you'll have a lot more of these. In your essay, as you go through, you need to then discuss some of the theory that we have studied. I am not looking for a theoretical paper, but rather that you can use some of the terms that we have been reading about in our text and will continue to read about in the next 2 weeks, and apply that terminology to the various roles. So don't just tell me this is the principal and this is what he or she does, but you need to explain what is the connectivity between the pastor and the principal, between the superintendent and the principal, between the bishop and the superintendent and the principal, and the bishop and the pastor and the principal, right? And with all of that, I need you to recognize that as you use the terms from your textbook, I want you to apply and use reference to the various types of leadership and authority that you see witnessed to in your school. I finally want you to look at the intricacies. For example, if your school is owned by a religious community, then the community needs to be at the top, uh, where there would be interaction, though, also with the bishop who invites the community into the diocese and the diocesan office of Catholic schools. In relation to the study of religion and authenticity of what is taught, it's important that you then would show how the community functions in, how the diocese may function in, but it may be different to a great degree than in an elementary or in a diocesan elementary or secondary school, particularly in subjects other than religion. I hope that during this time that you will be able to look at the relationship then that if we're talking a religious community, what relationship does that community have to the local principal and other members of the school as well? If your school is not a Catholic school, then you're going to have to tell me if it's of another faith dimension. How does it relate to maybe the overall arching of that faith and its organizational body? Or maybe it doesn't relate at all. Maybe it's totally independent. Maybe it relates totally to a board that owns it. Then that's at the top of your school. But does it belong then to an association of similar independent schools? You would need to bring that in. And if you're in a public school, then you're going to need to start with, your state superintendent, your county superintendent, or I guess it would county supervisor, county superintendent, however the language is used in your state, in your area. And again, show the interaction from the central administration down through to the principal, the administration in your school, the faculty, department chairs, team leaders, teachers, students, parents, etc. So this assignment applies no matter where you are or what you're doing. Even if you're not in a school, but you're doing other work, you may be an athletic director or you may be a DRE, then you're going to have a slightly different model, but you're still going to be tying into some of those key people in terms of decision making and who does what and how things are done. The important part of the assignment is it's important for you as a principal to know how your school operates and how the roles interact. If you can do this as a teacher, then when you go on to be a principal, one of the things you'll want to do is look at how does your school relate within the diocese and how does it relate with other schools. I'm not looking for the names of people like Mary Smith or John Jones, but I am looking at the names of the roles that they play. So you're not just going to put the department chairs. You're going to put chair of English, chair of history, chair of religion, chair of whatever. And so I'm looking for all of those things so that we get a very comprehensive picture. If you name it in the chart, you must discuss it in the paper. If you discuss it in the paper, you must name it in the chart and show it. And so I see what your visual concept is, and then you give me the overall description. Using, as I mentioned, theory studied, terminology studied, so that you're applying what we are learning. If you have questions, there's plenty of time. Don't hesitate to contact me. But this is a great opportunity for you to get to know how your school operates and how it operates in relation to your diocese or your community network, whatever that may be. It's a great exercise to be able to understand so that if you move to other schools, you will want to know who does what and to whom each person relates and how they relate. I wish you great enthusiastic exploration. You will discover some very interesting links and some very interesting ways in which people relate to one another. So I look forward to reading these papers in the coming weeks. And I hope now, as you move on to my other content, you will be able to get a closer look at theories, old and new, related to the principalship. Have a wonderful week, and God bless you.